Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man. Once again, and today we are doing another video. Now today's video is going to be about what types of books I would recommend that you guys read this winter. It's kind of just an idea that popped into my head, and I had kind of two ways to go about it. I could talk about the warm kind of Christmassy vibes, or I could talk about the more kind of bleak, sad / harsh reality of winter. And I thought that it'd be cool to kind of do both and recommend books that revolve around a happy, kind of homey, familial type of theme, and books that kind of have a more sinister twist to them. Although they're not necessarily dark books or kind of scary, it's just kind of like deal with more serious things. And I came up with a list of 5 books that I think encompass either one of those themes, as well as 2 recommendations that are extra, that are kind of honorable mentions, I guess, like don't necessarily fit exactly with the theme, but that I thought would be nice, even if they don't necessarily scream winter at me, because they have something to offer that I think fits with the ideas that I had. So we're going to go through this relatively fast. I don't want to give too much away, but I do want to make sure that you understand why I picked each book. So we're going to have, out of 7 books, we're going to have 4 manga / light novels and 3 Western literature fiction. Fantasy books, basically. Everything here is basically fantasy, because to me, winter and fall are always more about fantasy than they are about science fiction. And I really couldn't think of any science fiction books that really fit either of those ideas that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, let's just jump into it. It's kind of difficult to explain how each thing fits for me, but basically let's start with the stuff that fits into the happy aspect of winter, that kind of Christmassy, familial, like let's get together and eat and enjoy time with our family kind of vibe, I guess, or that kind of theme, right? And that's mostly going to be the manga and light novels. Actually, that's exactly what it's going to be. So the first book I want to talk about is Komi Can't Communicate, or the first series, I guess. So the first series I want to mention is Komi Can't Communicate. And this is because there's a certain element of warmth and coziness in this story, as well as kind of melancholy and nostalgia that kind of deal with your life in high school. And I just really enjoy that kind of hanging out with friends and not taking it for granted kind of idea that the book presents. And I really like it. Plus, there's a few times where they have activities or chapters based around holidays, and I think those are really great. I think it was in volume 6 that they have the Christmas chapters, and I thought those were great. They were very, very cute and very enjoyable. And this book series is really easy to read. There's 10 volumes out right now, and they all cost around $10. And I don't know, it's just really enjoyable. I think it's a very cozy, kind of relaxing manga to read. And so that's why I kind of wanted to recommend it for this winter. Now, another manga in the same theme, but not necessarily in the same vein of story, is Drifting Dragons. Now, this one more focuses around the idea of getting together to eat and enjoy delicious food, because that's kind of one of the big things in this book. This series has 7 books out in English as of right now, as far as I remember. And this deals with a crew of people on an airship that hunt dragons. And after hunting them, they butcher them and they collect all of the resources that they can from a dragon. And then they kind of intersperse that, the story intersperses that kind of aspect with kind of slice of life moments where they're just enjoying big meals made of dragon meat and other types of things. And I really enjoy the atmosphere that it generates. It's a very nice kind of enjoyable, friendly style. And it kind of reminds me of, going out with your family to a big buffet or something like that, and just enjoying time with people that you care about. And I really enjoy that it gives you recipes that you can try Like this one is called Dragonet Diavolo, but it's actually, you know, you can make it with chicken or with duck or something like that. I think it actually tells you what type of meats that you can use somewhere here. I can't see it, but basically, all these recipes can be created in real life as long as you substitute the dragon meat for an actual meat that is available in real life. And it's very fun, and it's really enjoyable. And oh, sorry, I'm showing you the back. And I just really enjoy the kind of cool, fun vibes that it kind of presents. Now, the last one is more about the family aspect, that kind of like enjoying time with the people that you care about and just connecting with them, even if they're kind of annoying or intransigent or kind of difficult to deal with, which I think is a very good read for right now in this kind of like difficult spot we find ourselves in, confined in our houses with our family members, and maybe our relationships are a bit more strained than usual. So I think this is a nice kind of relaxing read that kind of shows you a different side of the same coin that you're kind of probably living right now. And I don't know, I just really like it. So the book I'm talking about is called I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years and Maxed Out My Level. Now, that kind of sounds violent, but it's not really. It's a very soft, cozy, kind of relaxing story. It basically deals with this girl that had died on Earth from being overworked, and as a result gets sent to a new world and given the ability to do whatever she likes. And basically, she becomes immortal, trapped in the body of her 17-year-old self, and allowed to live her life in the way she wants. She chooses a very leisurely, relaxing lifestyle, and just by sheer amount of time that she's been around, she eventually maxes out her level. That causes people to want to come and challenge her, and along the way, she kind of accidentally builds herself a family out of the people that she beat and like tried to challenge her. And this family is kind of made up of very cute character types, and I really enjoyed it. It's very soft, it's very gentle, it's very relaxing. In fact, I read it during a very stressful time during the semester. It was near the end, and it was, you know, right before final exams started. And reading this really allowed me to chill out and kind of take it easy for a couple hours. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. So that's why I kind of think it fits nicely into this winter. Just because everyone needs to relax a little bit. And it also has these kind of nice, cozy vibes that you can have around family. So I think it's very good. Now, the last manga that I want to recommend, it's kind of like the honorable mention because it doesn't really fit the winter style. I mean, all of these kind of fit the winter aesthetic in a sense, but this last one doesn't really. And that's Fairy Tail by Hiro Mashima. Now, Fairy Tail, a lot of people are going to say that is not very well written story, and there's a lot of issues with it. And yes, it's kind of true. It wasn't really made with an end goal in mind, so it kind of suffers in storytelling, and the author kind of discovery wrote all of it without really being able to go back and change it because it was, you know, written every week and released every week. But the important thing here is the characters and the development that they go through and the relationships that they have with each other. And it's basically a bunch of orphans that work together in this place called the Guild by the name of Fairy Tail, realize that they found family with all these other people from Fairy Tail without necessarily meaning to and without realizing it. And eventually they just kind of find strength in their relationship as friends and as basically family. And I just think it's a very good story in that sense. I really enjoy how the characters interact in the way that they kind of care about each other. And I think it's very well done. So that's why I want to recommend this one. Now, let's talk about the more darker side of winter, and it's kind of a more serious thing. It's about, you know, the bleakness, the difficulty of winter and kind of dealing with the darkness that encroaches, I guess. And yeah, so the first thing I want to recommend for that kind of style is The Eye of the World. This is very Lord of the Rings-esque. In fact, this was written as an homage to Lord of the Rings. And so it's a very quest-driven story with a farm boy protagonist and the kind of a small crew of people as they go on this adventure, kind of escaping from the darkness and trying to save the world from it. And it's really well done. This actually starts in the winter and ends like near mid-spring, I guess. And so it's very, fitting, aesthetically in the beginning. It's also very interesting. I really enjoy the development of the characters and this kind of like growth that they go through. They basically start as naive farm people and then they end up still those naive farm people, but with an awareness of how difficult and dark the world really is compared to their farm. And I don't know, it's a really enjoyable story. It's very epic in scale. It's very large. And it's a rather thick book, so you have a lot of days sitting near the fire out of it. So, it's a very interesting kind of story. And I just really enjoy how it reads. It's also very detail-oriented, so there's a lot of times where the author takes his time to describe a lot of things that maybe aren't necessary to do, but he enjoys doing that, or he enjoyed it, I guess. And it's very atmospheric, so it kind of fits nicely, and it kind of allows you to relax a little bit and just kind of take it in, and it's very well done. The other book I want to recommend in the same kind of vein is The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. Now, this is written, it's basically a fictional historical setting, right? And it's England right before the beginning of Danelaw, or during Danelaw, I guess, and right before the unification of England by King Alfred the Great, right? And it kind of deals with this young lord from Northumbria, which is, the northern section of England, who gets kidnapped / adopted by a bunch of Viking raiders, and swearing revenge and to try to take back his kingdom, he becomes one of them. And along the way, he kind of realizes that, maybe being a Viking isn't so bad. Maybe they're better than the Englishmen. And also kind of like dealing with the difficulties of being raised by them and basically having his father be a Viking, although his real father was killed by them. And it's a very interesting kind of personal story that I really enjoy, and I think it's very well done. I really like the kind of horrible way in which war is described in this book and how scary and difficult it is. And I don't know, it kind of has a bleakness to it that I think really fits into that darker interpretation of winter, or the darker, harsher reality of winter that we kind of avoid when we think of winter because of Christmas. And it's about Vikings, which are like quintessentially winter warriors, right? Although I guess they weren't really winter warriors because they did all the stuff in the summer. But, whatever. The point is that it's cool, it fits, it works well. Now, the last thing I do want to recommend is The Witcher. This is The Last Wish, which is the first Witcher novel. Although technically this is a short story collection, the first actual novel is called The Blood of Elves. But you should read this one and the second one afterwards, which is called The Time of Contempt, I guess. I don't know what the actual, the other set of stories is called, but you should read those first. And this is kind of a bleaker, like darker fantasy version. A lot of the stories here are basically retellings of fairy tales, but they deal with a monster hunter that goes and takes care of the fairy tale elements, right? And there's also kind of a very interesting situation with the main character because he's a mutant monster hunter that is supposed to not have emotions, but somehow he ends up being more human than even actual humans, and a very interesting kind of like ability to be empathic towards both monsters and humans in a way that most people don't seem to be able to. And there's this kind of dark sorrow around the main character, but slowly there's a certain element of hope that arises because of this child of destiny thing that kind of happens to him. It's very interesting. I really enjoy it. There's also a TV show that you can watch instead. Although I think the novel is better than the TV show. For Bernard Cornwell's The Last Kingdom, you can also watch the TV show on Netflix. I think they're both pretty equally as good, but The Witcher, definitely the book is better than the TV show. And I don't know, it's just really interesting. I really enjoy how everything kind of plays out. And I think they all the stories fit nicely into the theme of winter and kind of just, they're not relaxing, but they're intriguing and they're not too bad. So yeah, that's basically it for me. I don't really know if I did a convincing job of selling all of these books to you, or if the theme element that I wanted to play with ended up being that great, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Anyways, this is kind of an experiment, so it's not necessarily going to be that I make videos like this every season or anything like that. It's just kind of like something I wanted to try out. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you have any other recommendations, please put them down in the comments. I would love to hear them. If you guys have any good recommendations for sci-fi stuff that we can read in winter that kind of revolve around those two themes that I was talking about at the beginning, please let me know as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and catch you guys in the next video. See you guys later.